lot of pick and ban focus on him.
Yeah, and I feel now that we hop into Champion Select that you're exactly right about sort of mid-lane focus, things like that. As Karma and Elise are going to be removed on the side of C9, and SKT are going to get rid of the Dragon and the Syndra here. So Jensen actually getting a lot of focus. Faker not going to be on the Syndra once again. And now that these teams have swapped sides, I think that actually bodes quite well for Jensen trying to get himself a better matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is he had the option to take that good matchup red side because SKT was blue side last time, actually first picked the
that
Syndra,
was right. Yeah,
but they kind of counterpicked themselves. So they had that confidence and maybe some overconfidence, and it didn't work out for them. SKT is paying that respect, not allowing them to have that first pick Syndra, but blue side has actually been doing fantastically well in the tournament so far. It's a ridiculously high win rate. It's like 65, 66%, something like that. So the first pick priority has been very big in the tournament. Obviously that by no means guarantees you wins, but it can be a nice advantage, and I'm interested to see what they're going to go with here. A lot of options on the table still.
Yeah, pretty much every top laner is untouched, as you predicted.
Are you looking at Rumble as being first pickable, something like that?
Personally, I don't think it's worth the first pick. I mean, I don't know if you disagree, but I do think that Impact can perform on a lot of different champions. Doesn't mean that they won't do it because they're happy blind picking something. So, it's actually going to be Ryze for Jensen. Wow. But yeah, I think that one of the things you can do is allow Duke to try to pick something and try to get that counter pick and stuff. We'll see if they're going to prioritize counter pick for Faker or for Duke. You know, that's usually more of the time Faker gets the last pick, so that could allow C9 to have a solo lane counter pick. And
that was a pretty quick lock.
That was an incredibly quick lock of that bottom lane, and we've seen this Zyra thing come back in. Yeah, that's the dream.
I love seeing these mage supports actually. Like in my games in solo queue, when someone picks Zyra, usually like it doesn't matter if they feed or not. They're usually like the highest damage or like absurdly high damage amounts because it's pretty. You just, like Brandon Zyra, it's like you could die, be out of position, whatever, but as long as you get your combos off,
exactly,
you're going to do damage in a team fight. So.
That's the biggest thing, and I like playing a lot of AP supports myself as well, but I think these are two very intelligent responses to their bot lane. You get the Olaf, you get Impact on that Kennen, and these are guys who have backline dive potential. You also have Ryze, who can, especially late game with the higher ranks of your ultimate,
just
you can actually throw down the portal, and Ryze doesn't even have to take it. You just put this behind them for the Kennen and the Olaf to threaten that kind of dive, because Zyra is really, really strong if you can kind of zone people out and disengage and so on and so forth, but Ragnarok kind of just takes that off the table, right? You're immune to those magic abilities, and it's also a lane where you are somewhat exposed because you have to push up and you can kind of be in danger because of that. So I'm going to be pretty interested to see what C9 tries to draft here as a response. Sometimes you can like take a risky move and play something more like the Alistar that is hard engaged, and you will get chunked out, you will get bullied, but your all-in potential is extremely high, especially with your jungler visiting that lane. So there are a lot of different options to try to deal with this. You can also do something like a Nami or whatever, where you just try to like take the poke and heal through it and trade and so on and so forth. So I'm very excited to see what C9's answer is actually going to be here. And
I really hope it's the brand, because using fire to burn down the plants just makes a whole lot of sense from a thematic level to me, and I really want it to happen.
If they go with the brand, they're like too heavy on magic.
I think there's no way they're going to go brand.
Yeah,
no.
It's probably going to be a melee support, but you kind of don't want to like take a beating in lane. Like I don't think any melee support like lanes well versus Zyra.
No.
Oh my god, the old counter.
That would be pretty badass if we get the Leona. I think it's very unlikely. So it is going to be Alistar, I think. And this is something that I was kind of talking about. You are going to take a bit of a beating, but you can kind of accept that. You can start heal even, and you basically just start E level 1. You heal through the harass. You just last hit under turret. This is something that's like a pretty safe lane. And then these guys have to push to abuse you to kind of get that advantage in lane. And if Meteos comes to visit, you have the flash Q, you knock in the Zyra. This guy has very low base stats, very low health, with Ignite as well. This is a super heavy kind of kill lane that you can exploit these people, and it's kind of similar to Jayce. I think there's a lot of people that you'd be happy to knock in here as the Alistar. So there's a lot of targets for Smoothie as far as that playmaking goes, right? You can be trying to check out any of these guys, and it's also something that Duke is really gonna have to be wary of in the 1v1 top lane is you can see those Alistar roams top.
Yeah. Last time Smoothie visited top lane, he did a pretty good job at giving Impact just a lead. I think it was C9 versus Aimee.
Yeah, I think they got first blood.
It was a good back timer for Smoothie. It might not. I don't remember what support he had to play against last time, but it might not be able to happen this time if they get shoved in all laning phase. Because if you leave Sneaky by himself under a tower, you won't get a good roam timer, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, we even saw Caitlyn Zyra just straight up take a turret in a 2v2 without jungle assistance, so that can be pretty scary, but...
Samsung were playing out of their minds yesterday, though.
Yeah.
Like, some incredible League of Legends.
They definitely played very well, and we can focus back in on the top lane now. We've talked a little bit about the draft as a whole and kind of how the game could potentially look for some different areas, but we have Jayce versus Kennen. Lee Sin and Olaf are the junglers. That's like kind of the main focus right here that we have to talk about and think about a little bit. And how do you feel about this matchup in particular? Kennen into the Jayce, both of them actually going to be playing Thunderlords, so kind of looking for, I guess, those kind of better trades.
Yeah, I think Jayce actually, like, Kennen just has longer range earlier, so it's just kind of a farm matchup early. I think range versus range is pretty hard to get any meaningful harass down on each other, unless you both want to be low HP for the entire lane phase. They both have Doran's Blade start too, so even if they take like small trades with each other, they'll sustain it back up, and they have the pop for safety as well. It really, I think later on, the Jayce eventually will outsplit the Kennen. Most Kennens like to go Proto Bell and then Void, or like for a quick early power spike or something like that. But I guess these two might get the resist item and just have like a pretty stable laning phase, short trades, stuff like that.
I mean, I always think that Seekers is pretty nice as well, just even for laning if you are worried about that at all, especially because Lee Sin is physical. So it's like you have a Seeker's arm guard early, you're going to be kind of building not only just against the Jayce in the 1v1, but also against the Lee Sin. And we'll see how worried Impact is about it. If he is worried about dying, I think that's a very smart item. And just picking that up, you don't have to complete the Zhonya's early, obviously. You can just grab a Seekers and then go into whatever you want, and that can be very strong for laning.
Yeah, I think Impact definitely has better setup for ganks than Duke. Like, the only way Jayce can really set up for ganks is either getting him low or just queuing to a range minion, but Impact can actually stun Duke, and so the follow-up will be pretty easy for the Olaf if he ever chooses to come up.
Well, Duke didn't exactly have the best game.
That's not some great stats right there. Yeah.
Week 1, exactly right. So Impact, we did mention the fact that he was the shining light for C9 versus SKT the first time around. See whether it's going to be the case once again.
And it's actually, in general, I feel like Jayce has just not been doing super well in this tournament. I really didn't love the draft for TSM that had Haunter on Jayce, and I think that this is a draft overall where I guess Jayce does make more sense because you have like more disengage and kind of kite, and I can see how this works, right? If you try to hard engage into the Zyra disengages, you have a long range kind of like poke and harass and stuff from the Jayce and the Jhin and so on, but going to be pretty interested in, and Lee Sin is starting red here, so.
Yeah, both junglers start on the buff, and their top laner's leashed.
Yeah. Does that mean aggressive starts here for both of these guys are going to make things happen early? And do you think that we should be scared as, a top lane focused stream?
I think it's something you always have to take into consideration. It's not like super strange, but I think you do have to take into consideration if your top laner is like leashing, at least giving that information to your team and stuff, letting them know where the jungler is starting so your team can kind of respond appropriately. It doesn't necessarily mean that someone's going to gank top, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen here, but it is something you have to be wary of. I do think that level 2 cheese ganks have really kind of fallen out of the meta as far as competitive, but if you were playing solo queue, it's definitely something I'm always scared about as a top laner, especially playing against Lee Sin. If they're starting red, I'm always worried about that.
Yeah, I think the 3 buff gank and solo queues actually are like 3 camp and then gank a lane strategy in competitive just doesn't pay off that well, because if the guy just flashes and lives, then you're basically giving up the entire other side of your jungler to the other jungle and the other side of the map. So
it's like exactly what just happened in the bottom lane, by the way.
Oh, he invested in level 3 gank? Oh, he got
Meteos headed down there and did get both his Zyra summoners, so good news.
Yeah, that's really good. And we're going to have to kind of keep in mind that means Lee Sin may now have to kind of spend more time on the bot side and try to protect his bot lane, which can theoretically give Impact some more free time. And Impact's actually taking a pretty big amount of damage there, but does trade back well. And I think that Lee Sin was actually spotted on the ward on bot side, so that was a nice little deep ward. I'm not sure if that was Meteos who got it or Smoothie or whoever, but that is something that they're always going to be tracking. Duke able to queue forward very safely knowing that Meteos was bot side, right? He can go for the aggressive trade, and Impact likewise knows that Lee Sin was bot side, so he can play more aggressively, and this definitely dictates it. It's not just Duke randomly jumping forward when the Olaf could be there, because if you do something like that and the Olaf is there, you're just dead.
Yeah, and in carry versus carry matchup too, you got to be really careful to take those types of trades, just because if the Olaf shows up and you just lose or die or something, your entire game is just gone. Like if you fall behind in a carry versus carry matchup, it's very, very hard to just make a meaningful impact on the game or ever like push your lead 1v1, which is really important in competitive setting.
And in an isolated matchup like this, Kennen versus Jayce, who do you think would take that 1v1? Is it skill-based, or is there sort of like a clear champion that is going to be able to take it?
Yeah, I think in range versus range is basically just whoever hits the skill shots and stuff. I mean, I was really glad to actually just see them trading because 2 days ago when we did the top lane stream, none of them were like fighting each other at all.
Yeah.
But already like on the second wave, like, dude.
Oh, Mr. Cannon creep.
Oh no, unlucky. Missed the cannon and the rage creep.
Our observer knows exactly what we want to be talking about here, which is whether or not they're hitting the cannon creeps.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a lot about skill shots and stuff. But to your point, later in the game, as Zig said, I think that the Jayce should kind of outscale the Kennen. You know, if you complete like a Mon, things like that, I think that definitely helps you massively in the 1v1. A lot of it's going to depend on early game, you know, if things are even. But in the bot side, it looks like this bot lane is being punished, and Zyra is going to get first blooded here, and that is what you have to be worried about. You know, it's the all-in potential that these guys have against Zyra. So Zyra very strong at pushing, but you expose yourself, right? And they have now capitalized on that. And once again, Lee Sin did show. So both junglers have shown bot side. This means Zook, if he wants, can go aggressive, so can Impact, and gives them the freedom to go for these trades. And they are doing it pretty aggressively.
Yeah, they actually are casting spells on each other. It's really, it's nice to see. I mean,
Zig's losing his mind.
You missed these games that we had before.
Oh, no. I was watching and I spoke to Zig afterwards. I mean, I well and truly experienced this as well. And I'm sorry. I'm glad that this is going well this time, Zig. Thank goodness.
Zig's like, it's happening. They're trading.
Yeah, I like this. I mean, yeah, it's nice to see. Duke missed a couple QEs, but usually you want to look for, like, as the Jayce, you want to look for them to be standing too close to
range minions.
Yeah, just so you can land some splash on them. And the Kennen, like, can just get if he gets 3 hits on you with, like, his passive, whatever, he stuns you. So it's pretty easy to take a short trade as both of these champions. And it's just looking for the windows of, like, are they out of position? Are they standing too close, too far up?
And I also think a big part of that is also monitoring how many minions there are, and especially, like, if they've killed your cannon and you try to trade into them, you're taking cannon damage, and you're going to be losing that trade oftentimes very heavily, even if, and ooh, here comes Blank.
Yeah, and you can see the Lightning Rush was already used. Slicing Maelstrom, but more defensively there is Impact, and they actually have to go back because Blank has a lot of health.
He still had his pot, so I think he's actually fine, and I think that was more just about Duke wanting to base, so I think that Blank was just kind of helping him push in.
Yeah, I'm good, or I'm surprised that Impact didn't burn Flash there, or not surprised, but I think he played the situation well by not burning Flash and instead trading his ult. That's something that yesterday or the other day, I feel like some of the top laners, if they're too antsy, they just burn their Flash really quickly. So I feel like, yeah, Impact played that situation properly.
Yeah, and especially with how early he used the ult, kind of dissuading them from actually committing more to it, right? Like, making it super dangerous for them to attempt that dive, allowed him to save his flash, and giving up the ult is really not a big deal for him whatsoever. He gets a good buy timing off. The wave is going to push a bit towards his opponent, which is a bit unfortunate. That's kind of the only advantage that Duke really gained from that. But his jungler had to invest that time, had to show on the map, so you hope as a top laner that anytime that happens, your jungler is getting something back or doing something to gain an edge elsewhere, or your bot lane is, or whatever.
Yeah, and already, of course, Meteos had made things happen on the bottom side of the map, equating to a bit of a lead here for Cloud9. But I do have a question coming in from Twitter. Skiri99 asks, why do these players never take Herald at Worlds? And this is something I've actually been interested about. We've seen a few teams do it. Of course, more of the Chinese teams, if I remember correctly. But why do you think that not as many Heralds have been taken, Zig?
I think you just need a lot of free time to do Herald. A lot of games are actually just feel like they get lost. Or some of the games I was watching earlier in the season, it's like a team would try to start Herald, but then it takes forever to actually do it because you have to hit it like 11 times or something with the eye open, and you have to tank a lot of damage too. So it's a big risk, and you actually have to like have a big tempo advantage or like a lot of free time to do it. And a lot of these teams can't get that much time.
And I also think more than, you know, on top of just the free time that it takes, you take a lot of damage doing that buff early, right? And if you're on the Rift Herald and you get caught doing it, you can not only just get killed, but they can take it away. Like, because if they kill you, then hey, you have that free time, right? So it's really dangerous, not only as a time investment, but also as far as an HP investment and stuff. And we did see Faker roam down bot and was able to pick up a kill there onto Smoothie. So things evening out as far as the kills go, but that was once again a bit of a time investment, and they almost had killed off Wolf, but a good roam from Faker there kind of evens it up.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out. Blue Steel, I believe, was successful just then, though, for Meteos, so C9 are able to get something back off the end. Still about 600 gold in the lead. So despite the fact that Faker did manage to get himself a kill, still nothing notable necessarily as far as advantages here for SKT. C9 still looking very good. The apple pie dream is still alive. Don't worry, gentlemen. Going to be fine as Impact. Going aggressive. Still has the ultimate, remember, but Duke does get a good trade.
He's trading Duke's mana down, which is pretty good because most of the Jayce, well, all the Jayces, sorry, now go tierless, and Impact or Kennen's one of those champions that doesn't rely on that as a gate for his resources.
I also think that you can be more willing to trade out some health when you have double Dorans, right? You have additional lifesteal, you have additional tankiness and stuff. And Smoothie's coming up topside. They're actually going to be looking for this. We'll see if they can catch him.
Doesn't have the ultimate, remember, so he still has to tank up the turret and be careful. Q's going to land instant kill, though. That was insane damage from Impact and a beautiful dive from C9.
Great play.
It was really good, and this is the repeat of the play that they made against IMA. So it was that roam that we talked about, the potential that Alistar has. And
love that we brought it up early. It's beautiful. It's like we're a cooking show and we're saying this is the one we prepared earlier.
I also think the Impact did such a good job getting up on him early, forcing out that flash. Now Smoothie knows it's a guaranteed land for the headbutt pulverize. No chance for Duke to react there, and then it's full commitment from C9. Meteos goes in, and even with his jungler topside, there's no chance to really react.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of like entry fragging in CSGO. You just need someone to go first pretty much. And Impact, yeah, he went first there. He E'd in, he had a mark ready on his auto attack, and he just tried to get the stun down. Didn't get it, but yeah, forcing the flash early just means it's a free kill.
Yeah, so. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, the fact that they knew exactly what they were capable of and knew that there's nothing that Duke could have done to avoid dying.
Yeah.
Because, of course, the headbutt pulverize lines up the undertow, means that Meteos easily able to just run in there with the ultimate, can't get knocked back. Like, everything was accounted for, and Duke died.
Plus Q from Impact is going to be super easy to hit on a CC target, and he does now pick up the Seekers, which is just, as we talked about, so strong in lane. And I think, I'm not sure if this is reading too much into it, item, because it works again both against the Lee Sin and the Jayce. So I think it's a solid pickup. I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, I like the Seekers here too, just because the way that he just seems to be taking more aggressive trades in lane too. Like anytime he has the mark ready on his auto attack, he's like E'ing into the creep wave to try to get that auto off and his 3-stun combo. So
it's also worth mentioning that as C9 is taking the dragon, this will be uncontested. But look at how C9, if we go over to the bot side and look at some of these deep wards, the ward over by the bottom tri-bush that they have, right? That's a ward right there, a ward over here. There's 3 wards that he can TP into. So if SKT were to engage into this fight, they've already kind of pre-set up for Impact places that he can TP in and look for flanks, look for those engages on Kennen that makes him so strong in the team fights. And that's something that SKT kind of has to worry about and that can dissuade them from actually challenging that. So even though Impact didn't have to be involved, the fact that he has TP and the fact that C9 has prepped it properly means that SKT kind of have to respect that and give over a dragon. So it's once again something that's kind of like an unseen little thing, but you always have to be considering.
Yeah, and they once again set him up as a threat here as well on the Kennen with that extra gank, because we do see some more action here. Meteos
Faker's in trouble. TP's coming in.
Yeah, exactly right. We are going to see some top lane action here as Jensen is going to delete Faker. Don't actually know exactly how that one happened, as we were popping in a little bit late.
Yeah, it looked like it was actually, he got caught out by Meteos. Meteos got onto him. Faker had tried to flash actually into C9's jungle to escape, so that meant that he had kind of sealed his fate. And although both top laners use their TP, Duke does intelligently cancel it. And I think that Impact was a lot faster to react there. Yes, he didn't end up having to get involved, but had a big team fight breaking out. He actually TP'd a lot faster to that than Duke did, so it was a good job by him responding. And also to get back to top lane, he lost, what, maybe 2 minions? It's not really the end of the world.
The big disadvantage here is the 2-minute timer.
Yeah, the Faker.
Yeah.
Not a lot of getting out of this one.
No, and he already had used his cleanse and flash, or he tried to kind of get out of there, but trapped himself in. And C9 is doing well so far. It's not a massive lead by any means, but they're doing pretty well as far as gold goes. They're ahead in every lane now, just slightly. So it is one of those things where they can be happy about their start, but it's going to be about being able to extend it. And something that you mentioned, they have to worry about the TP differential now. Because Duke canceled it, they have to know that Duke has the ability to TP a lot earlier, and SKT's coming topside for that blue buff. Impact is already thinking about it, and Smoothie's roaming topside to help defend in case they wanted to go for a dive.
Yeah, and the pings are there, but C9 looked to have no real idea that that one happened. I mentioned the ward that did head over. Pink ward's still there in the tri-bush. But Impact just goes back lane, clears things out, unaware now, and will find out. So Meteos notices that the blue buff no longer there. See whether he heads towards the opposite side of the map. But a question has come in on Twitter, gentlemen. And the question is, who do you guys think have the stronger teamfight potential in the late game? And I want to sort of set this one up so we can look for it as we move forward here. Only 15 minutes in. But who do you think are we looking at for teamfight potential in the late game?
I think C9's team comp overall just seems more like well-rounded for team fighting. The AoE from Kennen, and like Ryze can deliver Kennen basically to the backline too, so there's a lot of like potential for some cool interactions. Like if Alistar manages to get a flank off too, you get a pretty devastating like Heba pulverize combo on the backline too. So I think SKT's comp seem to be more revolved around like poke siege and snowballing, and C9 will just like eventually, like they have a well-rounded comp, a good amount of frontliners, and just all the tools just to make a fight.
Yeah, for me, I agree. I like the C9's comp more overall in a straight-up team fight, but SKT's is going to try to not give them one, right? Yeah. They're going to try to open up with Jhin ulti, you know, get poked down from Jayce, and they're going to try to then fight you when you're already low, right? You can create a lot of chaos with the Jhin ulti. If you can hit a couple of shots from Jhin ult, you can hit an empowered shock blast, you know, with the QE from Jayce. Then all of a sudden, well, it's pretty dangerous to get anywhere near Faker, who could probably just kill you from anything, you know, sub 100, right? So it's one of those things where SKT is going to be trying to disengage the fight, and you know, if you do try to take that Ryze portal in, you're going to see Wolf probably dropping his ultimate on it, trying to pop you up and trying to delay you and stuff. But if C9 can find that straight up fight, find the flanks and stuff, I think they should smash the team fight.
Yeah, it's basically just poke versus flank, I guess.
Yep.
And yeah, for team fighting, if that's what the question was, then yeah, I think C9 has the edge there, but
certainly.
Yeah, which is why I guess we're going to see whether SKT can avoid it. Good trade from Duke, exactly right.
Impact's been mostly careful about his positioning in lane phase. Like, he doesn't want to be close to range minions, but there I guess it's just a small slip up. And yeah, one Jayce like full combo rotation from range and melee puts you that low as the Kennen, so you got to be careful.
Yeah. Thankfully though, he has refillable potion, you know, made that kind of early investment and has gotten a lot out of it. And the fact is, as long as he avoids damage for a while, having the double Dorans means he's going to be able to slowly work his health back up. And I can't even remember what's the talent name that gives you HP back on last hits every so often. Feast. So I think he has Feast as well, because I saw him get the 28 health back. So having those couple talents means that even though he took a bad trade there, he should be able to kind of sustain slowly back up, and we'll see if he can do that.
Yeah. At the moment, actually maxing the Q here as well. And as far as Kennen's concerned, the last time I played him, it was W max was the normal thing. But is Q now the way you do it?
That's some good Jayce play.
Yeah, that's some good Jayce trading.
I think it's matchup specific. Usually in melee matchups, it's easier to...
Sin's coming in here, and if Meteos hadn't shown, I think that actually probably could have gone pretty well. But Meteos just wanted to try to hold the turret. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's good communication there. I think Impact just needs a basing because the Jayce was getting some good trades off. But yeah,
Meteos is going to try to stay, so Impact may have to TP back. We'll see what's happening.
I think he's too tanky for them to actually kill. Oh, it looks like they're going for it.
I think that they want to try it. They're at least going to try to force out the TP, I think. They may not commit to it, but they're trying to get Impact to TP, I'm pretty sure, and we'll see if he's going to do it. So yeah, that was a smart move. I don't think they actually wanted to commit to the dive. They wanted to make it look like they were going to try to force Impact into a panic TP, like, oh god, help me, they're going to dive, right?
Yeah.
And so even just that kind of small feint, even though it didn't work, against a lesser team, it may have.
Yeah. Yeah, like some of the jumpier top laners who just like to press their buttons a little quick.
Yeah,
might have worked on, but Impact is not one of those guys. Like
I can feel your pride from here, Zig.
Dude, he's playing really well actually. But yeah, the
North
Jayce
America's pride. C9 Impact.
Yeah,
he's carrying that flag.
Exactly right.
We've claimed him now. He's an American.
The Jayce trade there was just good though too. It's just you queue to range creep as melee, and you get the slowdown, so it's easier to land your empowered shock blast combo in range form. I think it's hard for the Kennen to actually win the 1v1 eventually, just because Jayce has like good range damage
and Ma now.
Yeah, Ma plus Mercs. He's basically built for split push too. So
yeah, Proto Belt is now completed though for Impact, so it could be a big deal. Versus semi-power spike, able to affect things if there is a mid-game team fight, something like that.
So what do you think about, you know, kind of the thought process here as far as, so C9 just gave up Infernal, right? You know, not contesting that when Impact has his Proto Belt completed, has his TP available. Do you think that's something that was kind of a failing of C9 there to not look for a fight around that power spike, to not try to utilize Kennen at one of his most powerful moments.
Yeah, they must not have been set up somewhere else on the map, because that's like a pretty easy decision to make. Like if you can get Jayce and Kennen both to be in a team fight, and if it starts around an objective too, where you're not getting poked out first, and like it's very obvious that the other team's setting up for it, it's pretty easy to get like a good setup for a team fight. So yeah, I think they definitely should have tried to fight it, but there must, like, I don't know, we're only watching top lane, so must have been some other extenuating like circumstances.
Yep, and SKT once again is making the return on this blue buff. It looks like they did take it away, I think, as Figure has it blue. So Meteos is up here, and Ryze is as well. They are trying to contest, but SKT has done a good job of kind of controlling this topside jungle.
Oh, you frightened? What was happening?
No. Yeah, I can't. There's just a flank ward buff. Oh yeah, okay, so he's looking. They open.
Oh my goodness, Steaky just explodes. Impact should be able to find something here. They want the easy kill. There it is with the electrical surge. Now Bang gets proto-belted on.
Ryze.
Yeah, Flash is there as well, but Bang is going to flash himself out of the way. And Jensen going to turn up. But
they could actually try to push for this turret. We'll see if Impact's going to try to stay around. I mean, Meteos is trying to defend topside. It looks like it's not going to happen because they want to respond to mid, but I think that's actually pretty heavily in the advantage of SKT. They blow their TP, they trade kills. It's just the support for the AD carry, and SKT had the push on both mid and top, so things are starting to look a lot better, I think, for SKT out of that trade.
Yeah.
They're going to get top turret, and that's solo first turret gold for Duke, which is brutal.
I like seeing that plus 650.
Oh yeah.
Not if you're a C9 fan.
Yeah, it's
no
true.
bias coming out of Zig.
I'm just a Jayce fan, but yeah.
Well, that was fine, but the fact that he was able to actually flash the ult, he lands his root during the cast animation of the Ezreal ult into the Jhin root, into the Zyra ult, and the all in there is so strong, and it's something that you really have to respect out of champions like Zyra. Even with just kind of this Eye of the Watcher, it's a little bit of AP. You do so much damage even with just the base damage of your spells, you can get smoked.
Yep. And you have a question comes in, why does all of SKT have refillable potions? And Wolf bought his like 18 minutes.
Even the AD does.
It's crazy. It's refillable potions everywhere.
I think it's just a great item, personally. Yeah. Like, I get it on AD carries, too, when I have to fill, so...
Yeah, I've actually asked this question multiple times, and it's just like, it's so efficient, and everyone gets really excited about it.
Yeah, it is super efficient, and one of the things that people kind of forget about it is that even if you have to sell it, you get a good portion of the gold back, right?
Yeah.
So your investment is actually something like 70 gold to buy this item, and then you use it for as long as you want, and then you sell it, and it's like, okay, well, I had a refillable potion for 20 minutes, and then I sold it, and I lost 70 gold, right? Like, the investment is like cheaper than a pink ward to have this thing, and you can save a lot of money on pots.
Honestly, a lot of games I find myself selling my refillable and then rebuying it, just because it's like, yeah, like if I'm close to an item or I need a pink ward or something, and it's more important than the refillable at that exact moment, then I'll trade it out. But yeah, I always come back, like I'll buy it again sometimes.
Always go back to the
return of
potion.
the refillable potion.
It's just a good buy. It's one slot, like it's the same thing as a potion, basically a little less effective, but...
Cool. Now that we do see, once again, things calming down just momentarily. Plank not one of the meta picks anymore. I understand he was nerfed, but still provides great utility. Gentlemen?
I think now that you can't dodge standard lanes, Gangplank lost a lot of his value, because like the ult's really good for like tempo advantage, and like you guys are pushing opposite sides of the map, so you can ult a wave that's built up, something like that. But he actually just loses a lot of these 1v1s really hard, like to the point where it's not worth it for his like late game utility. Like, you know, it takes him 30 so minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. He needs 2 items to activate. The Kennen and Jayce by then will just have like trounced on you so badly that you'll never make it to that point. So
yeah,
it's just like weak laners are really not so good in the current meta, I'd say.
I also think as far as like solo queue and stuff, there's even picks that I think are even worse than these guys. Like if you have to play against Ignite Pantheon or Ignite Riven or something like that, like I just want to leave the game. So
yeah, there's like Quins and Rivens. I remember when I was first scrimming on Pantheon as Gangplank on like the current standard patch, people were just playing Quinn and stuff in it, and it's like, okay, don't first pick me Gangplank anymore, please. Like this is painful. I don't get to farm. Like I have to first item Ninja Tabby. It's just like it's not too ideal for the Gangplank side.
All right, well, I hope that answers your question, Eric. As Duke's going to continue to shove things out. Of course, Impact backing well away from this because not a whole lot of map control here towards the top side of the map. 1.4 thousand gold is the favor for SKT.
And it's been one of those things where, because SKT has done a good job of avoiding any like really like hard engages or anything, they're just able to take these slight advantages. And you can see, you know, Bang has gotten ahead in CS in the bot lane. Faker's a little bit up. Duke is a little bit up, and they took that turret as well. So they've just done a good job not giving, you know, Impact and Smoothie chances to actually start these big fights and to utilize their team composition. And if you can do that, you can make something happen. But Impact trying to roam down here. I think he just barely doesn't have his TP.
Yeah, I think it's still down.
Yeah, it looks like there's a tiny little dark line there. So I think he was just kind of trying to move down in case they needed him, as fights may break out around this dragon. And
they were taking flash wards for him too, so.
Yeah, they have one by the blue pit.
Yeah.
Line games as well for these top laners as Impact. A little bit later is Duke able to shove things back out again. Proto Belt used by Impact, 40 seconds.
And clearing out the wave here is pretty important, because if Impact's going to push and the wave hasn't been cleared, it's essentially a free turret for Duke. If he doesn't want to match, he can just go right to it. So Impact, even using the Proto Belt there, trying to trim this wave down as much as he can to get ready for a TP in case he has to go for it. And C9 right now, you know, they take bottom turret. SKT is pushing for that mid turret. And C9, they're either going to have to look for a fight, or they're going to have to start dragging or do something. Because they have been out-rotated a little bit, and we'll see if they can make anything happen here.
Yeah, they just gave up mid priority to go all in on bottom. But I think mid tower is actually more important than bottom. I guess maybe
definitely.
It was undefendable or something, or yeah, they just got like choked out of defending mid.
SKT is still pushing up, looking for the next one, but I think a fight's gonna break out. We'll see. Yeah, Impact's TPing in.
Yeah, Smoothie possibly in trouble, throws down the ultimate. Meteos now has to run away, but the Chaos Storm is going to be eaten by the Olaf. Deadly Flourish. Smoothie does utilize his ultimate to tank that one up, but oh my goodness. The fifth fish in the barrel story is Smoothie's trying to kite away, but he can't do it. Stranglethorns comes in. It's going to knock up Jensen, but he's still very healthy. Flash has to be used. Oh goodness, yeah. Lightning Rush gives him a few extra stats. No Vengeful Maelstrom. Sorry, Slicing Maelstrom. Available to be utilized, of course. Does, I believe, have Proto Belt. Flash is there.
He's too low, I think, now. I don't think he can even try to go in, really, at this point.
Yeah. He's got his Zhonya's.
I mean, it's super risky. C9 doesn't want to give up the Dragon, so Impact is kind of trying to get behind. And Sneaky's pretty healthy here. Jensen is pretty healthy, so their carries are strong, and Faker has no ultimate. We'll see if they can go for it. Impact's going in.
Yeah, he's looking for it. Does have the Zhonya's. Will he throw it down? There it is. As now he's actually cutting off the members of SKT. Immediately dies, and it's really just not working. Yeah, Faker is able to take him out, and they just didn't manage to do anything with that Slicing Maelstrom. Sneaky out of mana, out of health. Meteos gets back a little too late.
Viktor traded flashes there.
Yeah, so it's really good that Sneaky lived, because had he died, I think that SKT can actually just like base and start trying to force around Baron and things like that without the AD. But Jensen went down there, and C9 is just having trouble finding the way in, right? They did stop the Dragon at least, and I think that this will allow C9 to just take it, because Meteos is over here. Smoothie's back, having respawned, and ends up being 2 for 1, 3 for 1 for SKT, something like that.
Yeah, 3 for 1. Smoothie did die.
Because Smoothie died, Impact died, Jensen died, only Duke died, I believe.
It was only a 1 for 0, but they really didn't want to give it to Dragon, so they just committed again.
And I think that they felt like they could take it because of the cooldowns that were missing, right? Because Duke had already flashed, because Faker had no ultimate, and Jhin ultimate was down, and these sorts of things. But it did not work out for them. And SKT has just done such a good job of avoiding these engages, and you can see them kind of like kiting around and whittling down C9's health to the point where they can't really get super involved in the fight, or it's super dangerous to do so.
And you mentioned earlier that that's exactly what they should be trying to do anyway, so good to see that they're utilizing their team composition to exactly what it's good for. This is going to be so satisfying, gentlemen. Oh my god. Can we get a replay?
We got every single one.
We're going to need a replay.
Yeah, we're going to need a replay.
Slow motion preferred. That was the best moment I've seen. Well, it's 2016. That was
maybe some
top lane focus. Sometimes you'd miss those moments.
Exactly. Like, this is why we need the player experience stream, because that is the best player experience you can have.
It's the minion die.
Oh, stunning. His Impact now trading very nicely with Duke as well. I mean, this is the C9 top laner looking real good.
That's just a 3W combo too. That's brutal.
Yeah, Impact actually kind of smacked.
Oh, here we are. Got the zoom.
Here we go. I think he actually got every single one. Let's see. Did he get that one too?
He preps it. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And he gets the last 2 as well. It's just fantastic. I love it.
Points. I didn't even notice
Stunning. I mean, Sneaky may have just died to Faker, but that doesn't matter. We saw what was important. Smoothie's going to fall down. We caught that one. And SKT, dominant fight here at 30 minutes in.
It looks like they open with like Jhin ult or something. It's pretty simple, I guess. Like if they traded all their flashes down last fight, then Jhin ult's like a lot more impactful too.
Yeah, I think C9 are in this position where they feel like they have to contest. They feel like they're bleeding too much, but this is very dangerous contest. And I mean, Impact not having flash, it's so hard for them to get in for the ultimate, but they may try to go for it anyway. Zyra's just so good at disengaging this, and I don't really see a way that they can get in.
Yeah, Grasping Roots as well will be off cooldown very, very soon. 2,000 health now on the Baron as there's the Realm Warp. Not going to be fast enough as Blank locks down the Baron. Meteos was delivered to the pit, but just to die at that particular stage. Now 5 members of SKT with a Baron buff are moving towards the top side. True Shot Barrage. It ain't going to clear that wave nearly enough.
I think it was a good try, but...
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it's just
I like
hard.
the idea.
Like, the Ryze ult to get the Olaf in the pit, it's like, it's a last-minute type, or like a last-ditch effort kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it's pretty smart, though. I did like the try on that more than them trying to do a 3v5 or something. Because if you try to do a 3v5, you probably all die, lose Baron, and then lose Inhib. So I think that is like at least... It's relatively low risk. Losing just your jungler is not the end of the world. And if he steals the Baron, that's huge, right? Like, that could turn around the game. So they're certainly not out of it yet, but down 5K now, and it's going to be up to SKT to really extend that gold lead since there's 3 pretty easy turrets for them out on the map. And if they could clean up a lot of this extra gold, they can really balloon their gold lead, and it's going to get to the point where it's pretty tough for them. But Impact does have his Void Staff, and we'll see if he can try to make a play here, how long he's going to hang around. It gets very dangerous as more and more SKT members get up here. Oh, they're going for bang.
Yeah, slicing Nostrum. That was sexy.
That
Chaos
was so
Storm's
good.
avoided as well. Faker does still take down the turret, but the message has been sent, gentlemen.
That's the type of impact play that we've been looking for, too. It's just like...
Well, Meteos going for the 1v1, but he didn't pick up his axe, so...
It's all right. There it
got
is.
him.
Found it one more time, and there is the Q landing from Sneaky. This should be the kill.
That was
takes it down.
So sloppy from SKT. They get caught on 2 sides at once. C9 right back into it, and they lose one turret. That's it. That's like not a big deal at all. So they've done a fantastic job, and they're actually pushing mid and probably going to get a turret trade of their own. So that's huge for C9 to be able to shut that down, and a lot of it comes off the back of Impact. That smart play in the bot side, preps it, gets in there, and is able to take down the AD carry. But Smoothie,
they got Viktor flash for that, so that's not bad.
That at all, and they clear out the minions. C9 looking for the tower. Blank not going to be able to get the kick to where he wants it, and Wolf flashes forward. Stranglethorn's avoided by Sneaky. Exhaust somewhat wasted there by Wolf. And I want to know what the C9 Baron power play here is for SKT's Baron, because it looks like they're doing fantastically well.
Yeah, it was inner for outer, and they got 2 kills, so I'm pretty sure that Baron power play was successfully negated.
Yeah. I did not like Impact's TP there, though. I think that was like super optimistic. He's TPing in on the turret in front of 4 people, and he had to cancel it, but I just didn't really see a world in where that was going to be a TP he could actually go through with, and if he did go through with, he would have died, right? So it's like he has kind of wasted his TP a bit, which is very important for setting up the flanks and doing that, and it was canceled, so he gets a bit of that time back, and it's not the end of the world, but still, to be critical, I do think that was a bit of a mistake.
Yeah, I think they're just getting a little jumpy, I guess, because they just got a lead back and
a little bit overexcited.
Yeah, might have been like a team call or something. I don't know, but it's good that he canceled at least. Because yeah, like TPing to the front of the fight actually as a Kennen in general, or like I don't know exactly where it was, but it looked like it
was right on the turret.
Oh, okay. So he wasn't gonna like get a great flank or anything, or he'd be in the middle of the fight and just get like perma CC'd and not get to cast any spells.
It was just to a minion that was getting hit by the turret. So I mean that did delay a little bit, so maybe they could kind of take down the turret more easily. But it's very dangerous, especially because of the team composition, because of Zyra, because of you can just drop a gravity field from Viktor onto the TPing minion, and you get stunned coming out of that, and you're just gonna die, right?
Yeah, you won't get to cast any spells.
No.
So, or you have to insta flash like that one time.
Yeah, that feels bad.
Certainly does. Do you want to talk about items just quickly? Just because Impact has finished off his Void Staff, does have his needlessly large rod now, and as far as that item is concerned, I mean, Rabadon's Death Cap's an option, the other one's Ryle's Crystal Scepter. Which do you think would be more important here at this stage? Extra health and the utility of the Ryle's, or let's just do more damage and kill
he'll probably just go for the Rabadon.
And Impact has no TP here now, so this is kind of, they're trying to make them pay for that, and C9 needs to run.
Yeah, they just got sack some people here.
Yeah, it's going to be a back from Blank, so
it's
still a
not
4v4.
Oh, they can, Impact's here now.
Yeah. They still have Ryze ult. They might try something. Maybe.
Yeah, Faker still has ult as well, so they need to be tracking that sort of cooldown because Faker is so strong, and they're looking for it. We'll see if they can catch anyone.
Oh, really good captive audience. Denies Impact his speed as he moves in.
So that was kind of a bit of the punish, right? SKT is allowed to make this aggressive play because they know Impact has no TP, right? So he has to roam down, and yes, the Jayce TP didn't really matter, but it's the fact that Impact can't respond, and C9 now needs to be careful, needs to disengage from this, and they'll do it pretty well.
One thing I do really love about what they just did, though, is they traded Realm Walk for Blank's ability to go back to base.
Yeah.
Just secured themselves a dragon. That's going to be the Ocean Drake for C9. And I actually really, really like it. I mean, that ultimate, not necessarily on the longest cooldown, already halfway done. C9 able to capitalize nicely. SKT responding kind, though, and take
Impact
down
is
that
behind. He may want to go for this. He has his flash.
Oh, Smoothie's coming in as well. Grasping
There he
Roots is fantastic. His Faker's in trouble. Protobelt actually to get himself a little bit out to the side as Jensen jumps himself over, but he's already so incredibly low. Seraph's Embrace comes in as C9 look for the disengaged Juke, throwing in those empowered shock blasts.
And it was a pretty good engage there from Impact, but he actually missed his Protobelt, and Blank responded. Yeah, he got exhausted, and Blank responded really well. Blank kicked him out, so it was a good response from SKT, and you're not really able to see C9 get too much. So
they actually have good answers for the Kennen. Like, a lot of lockdown, and the lead kick's always really good for.
Yeah, knockback as well in a pinch from the Jayce.
Because you have to get in a good position, like by using Flash or Protobelt, and then Zhonya's to really get the full effectiveness out of your combo.
Wow, Impact's gonna go Death Cap.
Yeah, I think that's the right call here, actually, just because he just needs to put out damage. Like, their only way of winning is like through team fight, not through like poking someone down with Ryze or something, I think.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I do think that it's all going to be off of that one big ultimate type of play, and he's going to have to be able to do that. So we'll see if he can pull it off, and not having his flash for a while is going to make it a lot harder for him. Once again, you know, they're struggling to really get those perfect engages. You know, he hasn't had any of those kind of really juicy TP flanks where he can get ults on the team and things like that, and that's what C9 kind of needs, and they're hanging on very well, but they are definitely leading turrets and are down a significant amount in gold.
Yeah, they seem to just be losing like little incremental things from SKT.
Yeah.
Even after, you know, able to win a decent team fight.
It's also even really hard for Jensen to get involved, and we're seeing like a little bit of the impatience maybe where he's flashing over the wall and ghosting and everything and trying to get a kill, because for him, he has to walk through all this disengage too. He has to walk through the Zyra plants and the Jhin ulti and the roots and the Faker's like gravity field and all this stuff. So Jensen is a relatively short range mage, and even for him to get in, he's really struggling. And I think that SKT have crafted this draft pretty well to deny the good team fight from C9, and it's just going to be if they can ever find it, it'll be great, but if they can't, it's just you get whittled down, and it's that frustration where you can never quite get in, and sometimes that can make you antsy, make you go for a bad place.
Yeah, usually if you are getting poked around and like the pace of the game is getting dictated by SKT with this like long range comp, you're just going to look for more and more desperate plays.
Speaking of which, Meteos gets himself out. Ragnarok, of course, very useful. If you're going to face check something, press your R button, things should be all right.
Yeah, but that's an important cooldown down, and they're going to open up with the Jhin ulti and look to make him pay for that.
Meteos actually taking a lot of damage there as Sneaky is tagged with the Q, has to run away from Blank. Death Ray flying in, and C9 are just getting, I feel like, tenderized for SKT.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. They're trying to chunk them out enough so that they can go to Baron. And I don't think that SKT has just good enough of a job, because they did use a lot of ultimates there. They still have the Zyra ultimate and so on.
That's why you get double Ocean Drake, Azael.
Yeah, it helps a lot here. And C9 making the smart move, they're going to push in mid lane, making SKT kind of come to them and respond to this. And we'll see if a fight actually breaks out here. Faker is split from the team. I think C9 could look for a fight, but I don't know if they realize it.
Their timing maybe just not quite there. Don't have the vision here available in the topside river. And they can't just be playing this game at Dosido. They don't have the same level of poke that SKT have right now.
No,
they just have to look for like a TP flank pretty much, I feel like, or like a Ryze flank, Ryze ult flank. Because there's no real way to break like the ball that SKT has going.
Do you feel like C9 are playing scared now or something like that? I feel like, you know, they could have used that Realm War.
C9 actually might try to start this up if Faker shows. I don't know if they realize that he was at the blue, but I think he's going to be back more than enough time, so never mind now as Faker is returning.
Yeah, C9 are going to back away, but they do claim vision control around the Baron.
Yeah, and to your point, I think it is a bit of like they're being a little bit timid on doing these engages and stuff, right? And it's really hard to make those calls because they know like their world's hopes, their whole year is riding on these games, right? And to make the call when you're not 100% sure that you're going to win that fight, it can go tragic, right? You realm walk into a Zyra E, into the Viktor W. They have ways to respond to it that are very, very strong. So you could be sending your teammate into your death and potentially ending the game. So they want to make sure they get this perfect fight, but sometimes it just never comes, and that's kind of the give and take, right? Sometimes you have to be willing to make the risk.
Well, we'll see whether they can, and whether they do make the right call here as well, because it's not just about taking a risk, it's taking the right risk.
Yeah, and I'd also say, the longer this game goes, I actually think it kind of gets scarier and scarier for C9 because I think Olaf falls off pretty hard, but I also think that the fact that they have support Zyra essentially means you have 2 mid laners.
Like an extra carry,
game. Like Zyra is getting to the point now where she's close to her Ryze, she has Eye of the Watcher and Leandries, and with those 3 items, this guy can kill Sneaky like by himself, right? Like you can kill off the carries, you can catch Jensen and solo out the mid laner, and although Alistar is super high impact, it's not the same, right? Like, you catch someone, you need follow-up. If this guy catches someone, he could just win the whole team fight for his team single-handedly.
Yeah, I feel like Alistar would be higher impact in different types of scenarios. Like, it feels like SKT's comp is kind of crafted to be like, yeah, we're not going to give you this team fight. Versus, like, a lot of the situations where Alistar seems to be successful, it's like, you can actually get that team fight, or teams are more like, they're actually like playing closer up to you or something like that. So
yeah, or just making more mistakes, right? Like SKT is just honestly playing it super well to the point where they're not giving C9 a chance to get the way in. And Alistar looks super, super strong when teams make mistakes on positioning errors, or when you can capitalize on that. But when they're always standing far enough back, when they're always having you warded out, when they're always disengaging at the proper times, it's like it's very tough for Alistar to actually get involved.
Especially when SKT always have so much vision around the map. They're never surprised about where C9 are going to be, which allows them to do exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
Have all of this extra control. However now, C9 at least able to push out the mid lane. Top wave pushing out for SKT. Bottom wave as well, I believe, is slowly pushing in favor of the Korean champions. Or at least former world champion.
You can see that they're just getting a little bit nervous there, and Smoothie is getting caught out. Already has to blow his ult and flash. That's another engage tool gone. So even if they get out of here, really Smoothie's now going to be worthless in the next team fight without his ultimate, without his flash.
Oh my goodness, so close.
It's really bad for C9 here, and because SKT can now go bait around Baron, Smoothie has to base, so if they fight now, it's a 4v5, and a lot of the key ultimates are still available. Now Meteos gets caught.
Yeah, Ragnarok is going to be used. Remember, has the Guardian Angel as Sneaky, just tries to get some poke in over to the side.
SKT starts it up, and they're just doing this so well. They're forcing out key ultimates, and they're making it really tough. We'll see if Impact can ever actually get in position to start a good fight here. Sneaky gets tagged. Has to be careful.
And they're respecting the impact playing pretty well too. Just running around as a ball.
Yeah, I think that's really, really impressive from SKT. But
Smoothie goes in.
A huge knock up from the cow. Stranglethorns comes in as Juke is going to take so much damage from Impact. The kick comes through, but it is going to spell the death of Wolf. That is one of the carries, remember, ladies and gentlemen. That's a big deal as Blank barely survives. It's a 2-for-2 for now. Bot lane for solo lane and support. And SKT still looking in an aggressive position, especially when Faker is so healthy.
Yeah, I mean, Jensen really strong too, but C9 just didn't have the way to get back in. And Impact does have TP, but honestly, imagine that's a fight where Alistar has ultimate and Meteos has his ultimate. That's an ace for Cloud9, right? Yeah. And that is the beauty of SKT's play. Even when they get caught here, look how fast Smoothie has to get out of there, and kind of how worthless he is in this fight, right? Because he doesn't have his ultimate, he's instantly dead. He gets 1 WQ, that's it. And then because of that, Sneaky and Kyle just get piled in on, and they kill Sneaky off right away. So it's one of those things where had he had his ultimate, it's a very different fight. And Meteos can't really be super aggressive either because he knows he's just going to get kited out by the Ryze, taken down, rooted up, because he didn't have his ultimate. So pretty good trade there from C9, and it was a good flank from Impact, but he needs more follow-up, and because Meteos didn't have his ult and Smoothie didn't have his, SKT survives.
Yeah, they burned pretty much every single one of SKT flashes though, so
that's big.
Yeah, next fight should be better. But
it's actually every single one at almost exactly the same time.
The thing is, though, look at C9, right? Yeah. Like, Jensen has his flash, that's good. Meteos has his ghost, also good. But all 4 bot summoners down. Impact has no flash either. And I honestly kind of feel like Impact's flash is more important than these guys' flashes, because it's almost the only way to actually get in on top of the carries, right? If Zyra and Jhin and all these guys are playing properly, how do you ever get in their face without having that flash? That's what seems tough to me.
Yeah. He just gets like exhausted every fight too. It's like he got like a perfect flank there, but it's like instant exhaust. Like even if he's Zanya's, he'll still be exhausted.
Oh, Smoothie's going for the flank. He goes in.
Oh my god, look at that damage. Massive shutdown onto Faker. They've only traded 1-for-1 for the moment, and the curtain call is in a good spot for Bang. Smoothie tanks up one, can't tank up another. As, okay, just walks into it. That's going to be the double kill coming out for Bang. Can C9 actually get the turnaround? Juke takes a lot of damage. Remember, Jensen has to be respected.
Oh, Jensen's in trouble. He's going to go down.
He's
dead.
Massive amounts of damage. No, he's not dead. Flashes out of the way. Sneaky is going to be punished, but that was so close as Juke was so incredibly low. And now the Ryze off into no man's land. Doesn't have the ultimate. Can head back to base. We'll see whether he can escape because SKT, they're looking at the Baron.
Yeah, and Impact didn't get his Zhonya's off. That was what was the big deal there. If he had Zhonya's, that fight looks so different. And I mean, Duke surviving with like 10 HP, killing off Sneaky. It's a very different fight, but SKT, I mean, beautiful idea. Impact got a great flank, and Smoothie started off with a good engage, but because they didn't get the Zhonya's off, they lose their top laner in the start of the engage. And look at this. So it's really good job. They get right in on top of them, but Impact not able to get that Zhonya's off. He's right into that gravity field.
Yeah.
It's the Zyra root, gravity field, Viktor all down on top of it, and that's exactly what SKT had to do. So even though Faker went down, he already used all his spells. He did his job in that team fight, and in the ensuing play, it's gonna go heavily towards SKT. That said, the gold lead stops mattering around this point in the game because everyone's getting completed items.
Yeah, this is exactly right. We've only got a Leandri's Torment to be completed here for Impact. Every item that Jensen would ever want is in his back pocket now.
Yeah, and Sneaky too, right? Sneaky is almost full build. He needs to complete probably his Lord Dominic's, I assume. Yeah, probably Lord Dominic's.
I'd probably go with that, yeah.
So there's not really like a lot else that they have to complete.
Oh, there's the curtain. Impact takes a whole bunch of bullets. Oh, can't get a fourth one. Okay, no, that was the last, because Impact is going to be able to head back now.
And just like that, though, yeah, they chunk them out, and they probably can force that TP, because they can threaten to start it up, and this is how SKT wants to play every time. They're aggressively trading spells for Cloud9's health, right? I really like it. Like, the fact that even Faker is willing to drop ultimate, chunk someone out, and get them out of there. Impact, though, thankfully, doesn't have to blow his TP, will run back.
Yeah, not exactly the full commit here from SKT as far as jumping onto these objectives are concerned. They've only got one more inner turret to take down on the bottom side of the map. That wave is starting to build for the Korean team.
And part of it is because of the risk of the flank and stuff. And Smoothie, once again, ult flash down. They catch him again. They force those cooldowns. It means he's going to be pretty worthless. He's one combo now in the next fight, and then he's dead. So also losing that engage potential. And he can't afford to kind of get caught out like this. The team needs that engages, needs it to be able to set it up for Impact.
I'm sorry for the non sequitur here, gentlemen, but we do need to mention it as soon as possible. If we go with the first letters of all of the C9 players' names, they spell Korea, which is utterly fantastic.
The champions.
Champions' names, yeah. So I feel like that could get them over the line as we move into the late game, as Meteos is going to get caught out. Oh my goodness,
dead.
the G8.
And they can chain CC him out of this. He's probably going to die a second time. C9 may have to try to... Okay, wow.
Not bad. Ghost, but yeah, this dragon's probably... It just looks harder and harder to contest. Like, you're just spending Jhin ult to like chunk people, and...
It's so well done. I mean, they used Faker's ultimate last time to get Smoothie to flash out and stuff.
Coordinated backs.
And they actually are still not willing to start it up. So, although they're doing a good job, they're not getting like the death blow that you need, right? They get the Baron, really didn't get that much. Gold lead, not really mattering anymore. Only one Dragon on SKT, so even if they get Elder, they don't get as much of a bonus burn. So SKT does still have to find a way to finish this game without allowing C9 to get that big engage. And this may be what they look for here. If they can get this Elder, that would be big.
Teleport opportunity here for Impact. Yeah, the Ward is going to run out, but there's another one in there that Wolf is able to destroy. Back of the pit could be the option. Is True Shot Barrage. That's not going to do it. And Elder Drake is going to fall. SKT, all of the tools in their tool belt in order to take down C9 now. and are going to start up the siege on the bottom side of the map.
And it's go now, pretty much, for SKT. Having the burn, although, as I said, it's only one dragon, so it's not as impactful, with a poke comp is incredible, because every shot means that much more. Every little bit of poke means that much more, and I think that you're going to look to see them try to take down the first inhibitor here. Impact's waiting in base, trying to get a TP flank, and at this point in the game, even though it looks good for SKT, 50 minutes in, you get a clean ace, you can just walk down a lane and end the game at times. So we'll see how they're going to do it.
A lot of damage as well if you can get into that backline with a whole lot of squishies here that are on SKT.
Seems like they don't have a good ward, though, for him, honestly. I mean, the only wards are kind of by the red buff, and those are pretty far away. I don't really feel like he has a good place to TP to.
Yeah, and those wards are spotted, too, so SKT will just probably turn on him if he forwards to one of those.
Well, at the moment, and minions are running out.
Yeah, and Jhin ulti is available here, so they can look to open up, and we'll see if they do decide to do so. They're going to push in here, and in goes the Ryze ulti, and Kennen's coming from behind, but is he too late? He's far. He's going to get in there.
Oh my goodness. Oh, actually, he just turns around. Bang! Is going to be able to take down Smoothie as there's a deadly flourish. Sneaky in trouble. Oh my goodness. Not enough flashes as Jensen's going to get exploded. That curtain call worked out so well for SKT. Impact now a little bit too little too late. He gets one of the kills, but it's not enough. Kennen against the world as SKT can at least break open the base. And you're exactly right, Azael. This could be the game.
It's 100% the game.
Got this, dude.
I actually can't believe that Impact didn't go for that. Like he was behind them. C9 was very disorganized on that engage. They went in and
just seemed like there was some miscommunication or something, because they like half went, but that was like a situation where you pretty much had to.
You had to commit. I mean, the fact that he's turning out because he's like, oh, we're maybe losing this fight, but his team was already all in, and I'm actually pretty disappointed by that play from Impact there at the end. I feel like he had to commit to that. He had to get in and get that big ultimate at a chance to turn the fight, but he's not able to do so, and as a result, the rest of his team goes down.
It's a little bit unfortunate, and I understand how flabbergasted you are at the end of that, Azael, because it did feel like when you've got a group stacked up like that, the rush of blood to the head that you would get as a top laner, seeing that opportunity for a slicing maelstrom, I don't know, something else must have been called, I could imagine, in the comms to make sure that Impact didn't go in and wait for a different opportunity, but it just never arose.
And I'm not sure if we'll get a replay of that, but if we could, I would be interested to watch that fight one more time and kind of see if there was something that we missed that went wrong there.
He looked like he was like trying to dodge a Zyra spell or something, but yeah, it seemed like his front line was like dying too quickly, and he just had to go. Like, it's just like it's like the Hail Mary type play.
Yeah,
like,
it's the only chance, and I think that, you know, we talked about it a lot throughout the game. SKT had to avoid the fight. C9 had to get the fight. SKT just played it better, right? They're able to consistently chunk people out from C9, deny these engages and stuff, and that one opportunity that they kind of had at the end there, they fall short.
Yeah, and we were actually focusing a lot on Impact during that game, and I want to go back over the side of SKT because you mentioned the fact that it was so incredibly clean. As far as Juke's play is concerned, Zig, I mean, you're a massive Jayce enthusiast. How did it make you feel watching him play out the late game, getting that poke off, things like that?
Yeah, I think he played it pretty well. Like, he was taking good trades in lane. He obviously understands the champion very well, and I think, SKT is like one of the better Jayce users like at the tournament so far. A lot of the other Jayces just seem like they didn't really know what they're doing. They're just like kind of pushing the wave and trading and like copying someone else's style. Like, maybe they got beaten by it in scrim, so they're like trying to adapt it for themselves. But it seems like SKT is like probably one of the early adapters for like this type of long range, like choke you out, like you don't get to team fight S type comp. And it seemed like a really good answer to all the hard engage that C9 had, because there were like very few windows for C9 to like break through in that game, it felt like. So.
Yeah, and I think a lot of why we're talking so much about Impact was because the game was about him finding the flank,
exactly right.
And it's like that was the way that they had to be doing it, and for SKT's side, the kind of big players that had to show up, it was more about like Wolf and Bang, chunking people out and getting these starts to the fight that were really, really impactful. So, Duke definitely did his job, but I think SKT as a whole just deserves so much credit for being able to constantly deny those engages. And it makes it look easy. It's like, oh, well, there was never a chance for them to go in. Well, it's because SKT did such a good job of warding out all the flanks, of denying all the engages, of disengaging when it was proper time, and of forcing out ultimates from both Smoothie and Meteos before the fight started. So when C9 inevitably has to take the fight, they don't have their ultimates available, and they get kind of smacked.
Yeah, and we have actually seen a lot of these compositions attempted as well. I mean, Lee Sin, not exactly your quintessential example of a big tank. He's more of this sort of like early game skirmisher type champion. We've seen sort of these low tank compositions not work out for a whole lot of other teams, and SKT really demonstrating exactly how to make that one work. And I have a feeling a lot of these other teams would have been watching and it's like, all right, well, that's how we do it. Hopefully we can execute that well, because it was a beautiful display of League of Legends sort of on a macro level from SKT.
Certainly was.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see exactly whether they're going to be able to continue on that level throughout the rest of the day. But next on the Player Experience stream, Sifa takes over, joined by Azael, Mark Z to watch Cloud9 versus Flash Wolves from the C9 perspective. Thanks for joining us. Now back to the main stream for an interview with SKT's Wolf.